What is up? What's going on, everybody? This is Kiana Fahir with Fahir. I'm excited today to bring another message. I started this channel, as you guys knew, the other day with a strong regard to make sure that the message be conveyed that the universe right now is doing its thing, and by that meaning we're passing time. So, by passing time, we want to make sure that um, we pass time correctly. So, within passing time correctly, we want to make sure that we have the emotional situation thought about. We want to have the spiritual situation cared for, and we want to make sure that we care for each other and we have the most compassion and we have the most grace. Because one thing that is important about us, and before I get into that, say good morning, freaking hey, wherever you're watching from, man. Happy you're here. Um, this video, we're gonna focus because I know I kind of just jumped into it. I'm already warmed up, I'm already ready. But, well, I'm getting ready. But, we want to kind of talk about in this video what I wanted to talk about, because I was talking on the phone with my friend, and he had, when we met, we met while I was doing some stuff. I told you guys, I was on the drugs, and I was doing the bad stuff before I figured out that there was something else in my life that I wanted to do. And that being, being able to, render help and render assistance to people developing mental agility um, in the mind when it comes to outmaneuvering those bad thoughts, or outmaneuvering those bad habits, or outmaneuvering those bad temptations when it comes to them entering your life and entering your vibration, which essentially is the implementation of the activity of your vibration, learning to vibrate as if the soul vibration for itself is to be intertwined with confusion and be intertwined with drugs. And that's why we're here today, because our souls wants to heal, and that comes from being in a low state of vibration and not really knowing why we're in a low state of vibration. So, with that being said, man, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's feeling good. Good morning, channel. Good morning to the stream. Now, I've been led this morning to the ability to make a video. And so I was on the phone with my friend, waking up, and he told me, he was like, yeah, when I first seen you, you were walking around, and I could tell that there was something in you that just needed to be helped, and that brought me back to the point of just wanting to give hope again to you guys, to show you guys that it is possible, no matter how bad you think, or how impossible that it may be to fix your situation. It actually is very possible. And it comes from being able to, like I said in the other video, let's heal with Allah, is we want to be able to create a foundation in our mind that healing is possible. See? Because like I said in the other video, it's not that we don't want to change. It's the fact that in the unknowing mind, the or an solution to change does not exist. So like I said, in that situation, you find yourself uh, in a situation where healing is not possible. So, by implementing habits and implementing the fact that uh, you need to understand that vibration is more extensive than what you see at times, especially if you do not regularly develop keen senses and the authoritative faculties of the mind to facilitate an environment, to create more uh, external sources, to create more influential thoughts, to create, literally create and or allow vibration to come into the sense of aiding the way that you think or changing the way that you think. You just simply won't do that. So what that means is you're going to be on YouTube hurt, and you're going to be on YouTube not accepting the help. You're going to be on YouTube thinking that it's the video game that's going to help you, but it's not the video game that's going to help you. It's going to be the situation in which where you need to just simply accept the fact that you need deep spiritual help, and you want to get in there and you want to kind of take that stuff out of your system. You want to give people the chance to nurture to your soul, to your spirit. You want to give people a chance to nurture to your bodies. You want to give yourself the ability to even think about creating these new thoughts for yourself. And that's where the compassion for life comes in, and the compassion for Jesus comes in some cases. And uh, with that being said, you allow him to kind of show you that, hey, there is a different way to think. Um, there is ways where you could essentially influence the mind to, get on track of a more uh, convincing or a more spiritually suitable, a more spiritually enjoyable to digest, so to speak, a way to think or a way to exist, a way to love yourself. That's why I said this morning, God and Jesus gave me hope when I wanted to change. I received hope, and that same hope I want to give you guys this morning because it was so special. And I'm gonna just touch on that really quick, and I'm gonna touch on that really deep, and I'm gonna, help you just honestly get down on your knees sometimes and just, like I said, give it up. Whatever it is that you don't need, just give it up. Understand that there are multiple sources that will accept your offer to give up simply what is harming the universe. Anybody would accept that. I would accept that. Your uh, mother would accept that. Your friends would accept that. Um, Jesus would accept that. The universe, the birds would accept that. So just think about if you have another life form that it starts again to accept your life form in the sense of recreating life here on earth. You have gracefulness, and you have another broadband of information that you can create uh, in order to essentially heal, which is why we're here, which is why we have the definition in our souls that just kind of sum up to a number that either is corrected or needs to be corrected, or in some people needs to be forgotten about, which is, those bad habits, those toxic people, those people that just cannot be here, what I mean, which does exist. So, um, yeah, like that being said, you just gotta accept over time, hey, it's gonna be a scary road, but what would you rather do? Would you rather preach death in its entirety, because the bigger picture does not equal death. The bigger picture equals healing, going back and getting those people that need help offering help to those people that don't even they need help, but deep down they will surrender. That's why I say it's a beautiful thing, guys, because um, when you uh, uh, as someone as such as myself, like I said, when I wanted to kind of transcribe this message to you guys, is what I dealt with today is uh, is I wanted to kind of share some of that hope with you guys. Like when you're feeling down, watch this video and just you're gonna get hope, and you're gonna, like I said, you just understand that um, the hope is in places where you thought that it wasn't hope. And that right there in itself is like a direct correlation of like where you can start figuring out, what is it that I was thinking? What is it that um I was not doing? What is it that I was not telling myself that allowed me to continue to be sad? And in those places, you will start accepting healing. You will start accepting these words that will allow your heart and allow your soul to feel uh, better and allow you to stabilize. That's a big thing. Um, so with that being said, I also went to church the other day. I went to my mom's church, and when I went to that church, I wrote this down, and it says being motivated about team. And like I said, this is just to give you more hope, just, if you have this like playing in the background, let it play in the background. This is just, like I said, to give you hope. Being motivated about team, what that means is when you're motivated about team, it allows you to develop this keen sense in your heart and in your mind that it shows you how to care for other people, and it even grows your spirit, and it gives you so much strength that not only do you care for yourself, but you care for other people as well. So not only do you have the strength to only care for yourself, but now you have the mental capacity, you have the spiritual capacity to be happy for nations. And, once you, like I said, reach divinity and reach messages like that, you will receive ways and codes and how to build yourself up and how to receive those archives of energy and receive those archives of spiritual breakthrough uh, and spiritual conversation in order to give yourself something different to talk about, and maybe you will heal. Okay. And so with that, I'm going to just read through this. I have not read it, so this is a rough draft. So let me just go through this, and then I'll continue the message and building hope today. And so today, uh, being motivated about team, meaning there's more to be excited about. When it comes to being within a faith-based, progress-oriented lifestyle team, you have to be motivated deeply about the spiritual process and cycle that other people use to obtain and maintain principles and understandings when it comes to the grounding and seeding and rooting of the understanding of the how and why the universe happens together. So what that means is like I said, the hope that I'm building today is monstrous. It's an honest treat because it allows you to be excited about a situation in which where you thought you did not have strength, you have strength. Where you did not think that you had strength, you're able to build strength. You're able to build power. You're able to essentially create power, essentially just by talking to yourself, even, and then essentially getting into the word and understanding the true and accurate and correct definition and the true timeline in which why things happen and why things evolve the way they did, and what allows you to again ground yourself in a situation where you have literal proof that the universe allows you to influence it for the right reason, which gives you hope to say, okay, well, if my brain has been destroyed by all these ideas and all these people have been destroyed by all these ideas, and uh, psychological and a metaphysical way, you develop this sense to understand that metaphysics and implement the positive influence of the universe by people who are trusted by it to give it love. So what that means is, yes, if you are hurt, you can essentially influence yourself to get better. You can influence the universe to care for you to get better. Animals, therapy, therapists, your friends, your people. You can bring the universe essentially back alive. You have plants. You can influence the universe to just water the plants. A photosynthesis. You can call down rain. Like I said in the Bible, there were some people that called down rain from the earth, and the earth rained and gave them food for generations. And that's true, because that's just how food grows. Like I said, I mean, I'm giving you hard hope. I'm giving you optimistic hope where you thought that there was no hope. You can get up again and you can stop feeling the way that you feel, because there is hope for you to regenerate those parts in your life where we did not feed it life when it wanted life, but we fed it death, or we fed it a situation of it not knowing or being ignorant because we forgot, or we did not understand that it was possible, because we never knew what the reason was that it is why we exist. We never knew, the reason in which why it was that we walk this earth, or what the purpose of the earth is, or what the purpose of the earth could be, you know instead of walking around and focusing on how to love. It changes into I can create love, God. So if you are struggling, like I said, and that's why I bring it back, and it's so sincere and it's so brutal, because it goes against everything that you believe. Everything that you believe, you're gonna be saying, hey, no, that's not. Yes, read the Bible, um, read the Word, ask God to just show you why it is that that's possible. Ask Him to show you, and you will be uh, shown these things, and you will be taught these things to give you power and consistency to bring yourself out of those bad thinking patterns. I was talking to my friend. I said, dude, I can't fathom the activity of building habits to destroy life. So, in that sense, if we wonder why we feel so bad, we wonder why we feel so down. We don't understand that, dude, maybe I feel down because I've been habitually like agreeing to give myself sickness. I've been agreeing to give myself discouragement. I've been agreeing to give others discouragement. That's the worst part about it. Is sometimes when we hurt ourselves, we don't know that we hurt other people, which essentially supports the fact as well that the talk can either be negative or positive, um, when it comes to a variable situation, unconscious manifestation of what you want to talk about, or unconscious conversation in the mind that results in what you think about, and results in how your day will go. This is why it's so important people talk about how your day will go, because the conversation that you have, you know, with the most direct analyzation of it is, or the most direct translation of input to output from, the universe and language that we speak, and what that language allows us to do, and how it allows us to navigate in the universe and in spirit. It's simply just, if you tell yourself that you're not enough and you're a life force, you're going to be telling that life force that you're going to be getting rid of life. You're going to tell life that it's not worth it. Guess what? Then you're not watering yourself. You're not watering those seeds. You're not watering the universe. You're not watering the plants. You're not watering the trees. You're not reseeding these ideas that create life. And so, in that sense, you have created proof in your mind. You have, uh, uh, in the most direct sense, created an input output situation where you are translating and telling the universe, which is a sense of space, that you want it to not implement more life. So if you don't want to, if you choose not to implement life, things die. You die. Your spirit dies. That's why it feels so bad. That's why you don't want to be in the situation, because you are something that is supposed to be watered. People understand this. The universe understands this. The dogs understand this. The emotions under the love understands this. This is why when you do bad, it feels bad, because you're killing something. And you're depleting uh, 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 the walk in which the universe had, that when it first realized love, when it first realized a flow, or when it first realized pressure being dispersed in a way, or regulated in a way where things were more calm, where just things just agreed. You know what I mean? Life agreed. Life, what life is. Life is just, I mean, at its simplest form, it's an influence of things moving around and things perceiving each other, and spirits seeing each other and just moving around and loving each other. But you cannot influence the universe with spirits such as, Jesus, and you cannot tell him that you want to be evil, or you cannot tell him that he's not important. You can't, because he just has too much love. It's too much love. It's just love, 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 love. So you ground yourself in that situation, and you make living proof as you go out, and instead today, instead of telling someone that you hate them, tell them that you love them, and build up that strength every day. God's gonna reward you, because and Jesus is gonna reward you, because he's gonna be seeing you do the good thing. He's gonna be seeing you do the good thing, and the planet is gonna reward you too, because with the planet, and with things such as, which there are things that just understand it, and there are things in which understand love. So if you start understanding that, and you start progressing in life, and you start just clawing at what it is inside of you that feels like it's dying, things will help you, because that's how life works. All right. And so I'm going to keep reading what I had on this page. It says, and allow together to unravel and blossom, and learn, understand, evolve, and remember. Filter wisdom together. Stabilize and repace. Heal, forgive on multiple occasions. Grant opportunity, spiritual opportunities. Regrant spiritual trials. And these are just some of the huge things that spirit will start unraveling to you, that are possible when it comes to a point in which you need or you seek spiritual growth, or you seek spiritual opportunity. It says here, it says spiritual it says forgive on multiple occasions, grant opportunity. I was just talking about this. Grant opportunity instead of death. Grant opportunity. Like I said, if someone is in front of you and you want to be mean to them because of your habitual way, grant them the opportunity to be happy today. You're going to learn. God's going to watch you. God's going to see you shifting in reality, doing other things, and influencing the planet to be good. So he's going to grant you life. He's going to show you things that you haven't seen before. Uh, Specifically things that some of us have forgotten about. Some things that some of us have started abusing, sadly. Um, and things that also can wake us back up. because it's just a sense of things that we've got to say here. It says, forgive on multiple occasions because he has that power, because he has that mind, because he is a being of that caliber that can do that. It says, and grant opportunity, spiritual opportunities, re-grant spiritual trials, so that one together spirited may learn, relearn, and advance by ways and love of God. Figure out and disperse the universe with love, remorse, clarity, patience, and tenderness of spirit in an unselfish manner. In an unselfish manner, then you continue, my people. You continue, my friends. You continue, my friends to be, my viewers, my hurt ones. You continue to bring life into the situation in which that is what we want. So you build a streamlined channel for yourself to be able to, in wisdom, reach these things that will help you over time with wisdom like realizations within the mind. That's what it is. Because either you don't know or you do know and you're doing the wrong thing with it. And that's so variable. You could be doing God knows what if you have the ability to create. So that's why I say with being having a goal of being a spiritual successor, that means that with being a spiritual successor, you want to be able to understand what it means to be spiritually successful and spiritually wise. So with that, I'm gonna get to wrapping this up. There was another verse while I was reawakening the soul and reawakening the possibilities of being able to do things such as grant a spiritual trial again for you to be able to get back up, for you to realize that you are hearing yourself crying in the midst. You're hearing other people crying and you don't know what to do. You don't know why you hurt. You don't know why they hurt. You don't know why your animal doesn't like you. You don't know why your mom, your dad, your friend, your cousin, you don't like yourself. You don't know why God doesn't like you. You don't know why God's not answering. God's not answering you because he's not seeing you work. You're not realizing how to work. You're not appreciating the people who work for you. So let me read this. This is and this was for the kids and this is for the youth spirited because we have a lot of youth spirited adults out there. Sure, I'm one of them. Because it helps us regain that sense of when things were okay. When things were okay, who knows what we were telling ourselves? Who knows what our dads and moms were telling us to make sure that we were spiritually okay? And it had to have been God, because I mean, there was another life that walked into the situation. Is what a testing moment, like what a phenomenon. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is, phenomenon. What a phenomenon. And so, with that being said, let me read this. This is Galatians chapter 4, and I'll tell you why I read it. For the children spirited, and for the ones who think that life is done with them, and they think that all that they know is what they have seen, and they think that all they know is what they want to know. Okay, let's read this. It says, what I'm saying is that as long as a hare is underage, he is no different from a slave, although he owns the whole estate. You see, so it's saying no matter if you have all this money, or no matter if you have all these spiritual powers, no matter if you have all these spiritual attainments and all this spiritual uh, 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 rights or these spiritual placements or these spiritual I would say these spiritual like perks, like these spiritual I want to say like spiritual I'll just say spiritual rights or spiritual what is it called, incentives, spiritual assets. No matter if you have these subconscious spiritual assets within the placement of your soul and the placement of your being and the placement of your life. It says what I'm saying is that as long as an heir is underage, he is no different from a slave, although he owns the whole estate. The heir is subject to guardians and trustees until the time set by his father. So also when we were underage, we were in slavery under the elemental spiritual forces of the world. But when the time set had fully come, God sent his son, born of a woman under the law, to redeem those under the law that we might receive adoption into sonship. And so it says here to redeem those under the law that we must receive adoption to sonship. Because you are his sons, God sent the spirit of his son into our hearts, the spirit who calls out, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but God's child. And since you are his child, God has also made you an heir. So, what that means, I'm going to read this one. It says, formerly when you did not know God, you were slaves to those whose nature are not God's. So what that said to me and why I wanted to give that to you guys is that no matter what you think that you know, or no matter what bounds you think you are under, it was something different. Because how to say you are home with your dad, or you home with your mom, or you're home with your guardian. I burped, I burped, excuse that. Um, when you're home with your mom, you think that you own the place. You think that. We think that. Even with God. Sometimes I used to mess up with this too. I used to say, God, it's all mine. Give it to me now. You know what I mean? Give it to me instead of, you know, asking and waiting to receive. We thought that it was wise to vibrate as if it was ours. Little did we know the preparations had been made. That's why I say it's so, because things are there, present, waiting on us to interact with them for the right reason. But you have to know and you have to understand that when you receive them, make sure you do the right thing with them. Make sure you heal. That's why I say you have these things, and if you're spiritually distraught and you're spiritually distressed and you're not paying attention to these things, you're not paying attention to the fact in which what it means to uh, 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 be spiritually correct, and you are pulling on these things, and when you're pulling on them, you're just getting rid of it. You're getting rid of what it is that you have had, or what it is that was set up for you or reserved for you. And that itself might have been the solution to the help that you needed in your mind. That's why I say The hair, it says here, is subject to guardians and trustees. You know what that means? That means trust in the universe, trust in space, trust in knowledge, trust in the church, trust in a business, trust in Walmart, in your family. If you are throwing that away, or if you don't even know that where it is, because we thought that it was at the bank. You see what I mean? We thought the solution was in the drugs. We thought the solution, the drugs that we did not own. We thought that it was in the stealing. We thought that it was in cheating on a woman. We thought, or we fell victim to. We thought that, but in a sense, with us having forgot, it was somewhere totally different. It was definitely when I was reading this, I was like, hey, listen, I do not ever recall me thinking that my father had power over any type of uh, influential materials that I have may needed in order to survive here on Earth and in space. I just did not think that. So, with that being said, it says, you think that the only thing, guys, I'm going to leave it here. You think that the only thing in life is that piece of dirt on the ground that you think doesn't mean anything. You think that. But once you get involved in the word, guys, you'll start being shown things of how it really actually is, because you're confused right now and you don't know maybe why, you don't want to make it, or you're confused because you don't have that help. You don't have that spiritual knowing of who it is that I talk to, or what it is that I talk to, or how do I talk to myself, or how do I make sure that I'm happy enough that in my day when there's a problem, instead of granting destruction to the planet, you have to learn. Jesus gives you this power of how to be fearless. And when you're fearless, it says making the doubt your favorite part of the day. So every part of you that thinks that there's no hope, or every part of you that thinks that there is nothing that you can do to help yourself, make that the most favorite part of your day. Make that the most favorite and most desired part of your day. I'm telling you, he will transform you, and you will go from worrying about not having enough to understanding that you have plenty. And then you'll just begin to work, and you'll begin to work, and you'll begin to work, and you'll begin to work. That's why I said, guys, like I said, just become fearless with replace that worry in yourself. Replace that worry if you're dealing with this. Replace that worry in yourself of not having enough. Replace that worry in yourself of when the thought comes up that when you even think about worrying, you accept the fact, calling God to give you the answers, you accept the fact, or call on Allah, call on Shiva, call on all these things, and ask yourself, say, okay, I'm pertaining to the Bible today, mostly importantly, because I knew I was going to get my message out of Galatians. But it all in a sense is relatively acceptable once it goes to the fact of you understanding that there are more deities, and there are things in the planet that, like I said, they can change forms, they can convert, they can be happy, and some people can even learn. This is something that was big today, and why people say that forgiveness is big, because from personal experience, I feel that there's a situation in which laws combined have to learn how to forgive each other, and they have to learn how to accept the appearance. They have to learn how to accept the presentation of the other in order to accept the word that both sides are in a sense containing of beings that are worthy of existence, which is the most important part, which are worthy of to be excited about and oneself to grant the understanding or grant the timeline to be able to learn how to implement life into the planet and learn how to preserve life in the planet. So guys, all I'm saying is you want to heal, ask God to heal you. And he will make you fearless to the point where making the doubt your favorite part of the day, guys. So I'm glad I was able to freaking share that with you guys. Definitely freaking don't hesitate to comment your thanks down below. Guys, I also have just put a Twitch in my account as well too. And what that allows me to kind of do is I can go on there and live stream sometimes. And I'm thinking about going on there and live streaming sometimes. We can go on there, even play some games or something, Fortnite, whatever it is that can influence you to have something different on your schedule rather than wanting to um, destroy your schedule and altogether. So let's get out of that. I know how bad that was. I know how bad that is having people that don't understand you. But guys, I'm coming to the forefront, somewhere in the crowd right now to be someone that's in even the hiding, but coming to the light and saying, hey, I understand you. I want to make sure that I translate to you or I transmit the right information to you to make sure that you take care of the right uh, uh, understanding and you receive the right understanding from the right transmitter, transmitter to know your needs when it comes to being spiritual all the time. And guys, that's a very graceful situation. That is a heck of a phenomenon. So, um, definitely let that be the light in your life today, guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay focused and definitely don't hesitate to heal, guys. Don't hesitate to heal. So, I'll see you guys next one. Peace.